conference. We are honored to have with us today our guest of honor, Shri Ashok Kumar Gupta, Chairperson, Competition Commission of India. Sir is a 1981 batch IAS officer of the Tamil Nadu cadre. He has had an illustrious career of 40 years in public service, spanning across sectors from industry, finance, health to defense production. Prior to joining the Commission, he has held several key positions in the central government, including as Secretary to the Government of India in the Department of Defense Production. He has extensive experience in industry, has headed and turned around state public sector units, and served on the boards of central and state PSUs, such as Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, Heavy Engineering Corporation, and several others. Thank you, sir, for gracing the occasion. May I now request you to kindly address the audience.
Thank you, Megha. Chairperson, National Company Law Appellate Tribunal, Honorable Justice Ashok Bhushan. Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Shri Rajesh Verma. Chairperson, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, Shri Ravi Mittal. Distinguished guests and participants, it's my pleasure to address this august gathering at this conference organized by IBBI. Let me at the outset compliment IBBI for putting together this important program as part of the ongoing Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. I am delighted to be here today to talk about entrepreneurial liberty. I'll focus on the freedom of entrepreneurs to compete, which I will refer to as entrepreneurial freedom, and which is an idea that defines our work at the Competition Commission of India. As you are aware, CCI was born in response to a transition that India was witnessing where markets were central to economic growth, the premise being that while markets can achieve several economic public policy goals, there can be market failures. It was thus necessary that a modern competition law is legislated for making markets function better and provide the necessary entrepreneurial freedom to fuel economic growth. Friends, economic freedoms and competition in the marketplace have a close nexus. I wish to provide a flavor of how competition law regime safeguards marketplace freedoms, howsoever we define it, to ensure a level playing field for businesses to compete, innovate, and contribute to the economy. Entrepreneurial freedom has been an important value as well as a guiding principle in our policies and enforcements. I would start by saying that freedom is a highly valued but complex idea to be expressed or quantified in any real value terms. The right of entrepreneurs to engage and conduct business and the right of consumers to buy goods and services of their choice are the two greatest ideas of freedom in the marketplace. Recognition of these economic freedoms is an unassailable foundation for building a robust and vibrant marketplace. These fundamentals of free market guide all the laws relating to economic governance, including competition law. Without doubt, the value of entrepreneurial freedom is high in open and competitive markets because of the relatively larger range of choices and opportunities it offers. Freedom to contract and freedom to compete, however, can contradict, bearing important implications for competition and competition law enforcement. Without a set of rules set by competition law, companies may undermine competition by using their freedom to contract, either by entering into agreements which fix prices or divide up markets, or by restricting the behavior of their suppliers, distributors, and competitors in different ways, including abusing their dominant position. Such conducts interfere with other firms' liberties to compete. Evidently, safeguarding companies' ability to compete comes at the expense of restricting their freedom to contract. If competition is not sufficient to constrain the unfair exercise of market power by incumbents, the state, through competition agencies, combats anti-competitive practices to preserve the economic freedom of buyers and sellers. In this sense, the entrepreneurial freedom that we speak about is not unbridled. To guard the competitive process in the marketplace against the misuse of market power, the Competition Act 2002 was enacted. The preamble of the Act reads, keeping in view the economic development of the country, the Competition Act establishes the Competition Commission of India to prevent practices having adverse effect on competition, promote and sustain competition in markets, protect the interests of consumers, and to ensure freedom of trade carried on by other participants in markets in India. Article 19(1)(g) of the Constitution of India provides the citizens of the nation the freedom to carry on any trade or business. Article 19(6) poses limitations on the freedom so guaranteed and allows the state to impose reasonable restrictions in public interest. Any restriction on freedom of trade must therefore be reasonable. Freedom is a stated goal of the Commission, articulated in the preamble, and the Commission's intervention decisions need to strike the right balance between the two freedoms of competition and contract, allowing competition to thrive while maintaining the contractual freedom necessary for a functioning market. Competition Act prohibits anti-competitive agreements and abuse of dominant position. It also empowers the Commission to regulate combinations that are likely to cause appreciable adverse effects on competition. In addition, the Commission has been given the mandate of advocacy to propagate the benefits of competition and inculcate compliance culture across the system. It is our common understanding that competition law is an instrumentality to secure consumer welfare. Several of our enforcements against anti-competitive agreements and abuse of dominant position have been to assure a level playing field in the market. For instance, in a case, our inquiry revealed that a dominant port terminal operator denied access to oil terminaling infrastructure to third parties without any plausible justification. The Commission therefore directed the contravening enterprise to provide fair and non-discriminatory access to third parties. Interventions against predatory pricing and denial of market access through exclusive arrangements are the other remedial measures ordered by the Commission to secure the freedom of entrants and competitors to compete and innovate in the marketplace. The presence of competition law regime itself would have resulted in compliance in several instances. At times, it has been observed that after the initiation of proceedings, the parties have responded with behavioral self-correction. We are glad to observe that there is a slow but definite change in the behavior of firms. The Commission has had an assertive enforcement agenda against cartels to free Indian markets from this pernicious economic offense and optimize deterrence. At the same time, it has been incentivized self-reporting and has offered businesses an opportunity to approach the Commission for lesser penalty by making vital disclosures on cartels. The idea has been to engage the industry not only for prompt detection and rectification of competition problems, but also make them realize that everyone stands to gain from fair and competitive markets. Friends, an increasing part of economic activity is going to be facilitated by digital players and channeled through the internet, and a small number of firms have taken key intermediation platform positions. This tectonic shift in markets is thus posing challenges for lawmakers and enforcers on how to address the consequent bargaining power imbalance and information asymmetry between platforms and their business users. We have seen an increasing number of informations being filed where concerns have been raised that these firms have, in some sense, become private regulators dictating terms and conditions to participants in their ecosystems. Even if users are uncomfortable with those terms, there are often few viable alternatives to some of the services offered. Strong network effects increase the value of a digital service for consumers and business users, and switching to newcomers is unattractive. These platforms increasingly exhibit characteristics of an essential facility, and as such, essentiality of such platforms cannot be ignored. An entire multi-actor ecosystem of sellers, consumers, advertisers, and application developers depends on them for survival. More importantly, an entire ecosystem of multiple products and services also depend on them for their sale. The relationship of multiple actors in the ecosystem with these platforms is increasingly raising competition concerns. Situations can arise where dominant firms in a market are in a position to extract huge rents or even oust their trading partners. The implementation of competition law should improve economic outcomes that can maximize the gains from trade on these platforms and create a balance that incentivizes innovation of the platform as well as their trading partners. Freedoms need to be balanced, and the role of competition law in doing so cannot be overstated. On merger control, we are mindful that mergers and acquisitions are crucial instruments for investment flows. They create economic synergies and contribute to the processes of industrial development. They also help create scale economies for firms so crucial for competing in today's globalized economic order. Yet the experience across competition jurisdictions shows that combinations could also, in certain circumstances, change the market structure in a manner that adversely affects welfare. In the absence of regulating such transactions, a given sector may become concentrated over a period of time, resulting in unfair pricing, poor quality, and distortion of level playing field. These outcomes cannot be reversed by ex post unscrambling of the combined entities owing to high socio-economic cost. This has called for an ex ante regulation of combinations under competition law across jurisdictions. In over 900 combinations reviewed so far by CCI, remedies were ordered in only 2% cases. The Commission has also examined about 30 combinations under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. The Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code in 2016 is a path-breaking economic reform. Competition law, along with IBC, is an integral part of corporate governance. While the Competition Act does so by promoting competition, IBC does it by reviving market players and hence competition through its resolution mechanism that includes mergers and amalgamation, among others. Without a resolution procedure, welfare losses can be in the form of shareholder losses, elimination of jobs, and other public harm threatened by a shutdown. The extent and intensity of competitive rivalry and dynamism in markets also depends on ease of entry and exit of firms. Threat of entry is the market's mechanism for disciplining market power, which is lessened in the presence of entry barriers. Hurdles to exit, on the other hand, mean that resources stay longer in existing firms instead of being relocated to use that is more efficient. Thus, barriers to exit, like barriers to entry, weaken the market discipline mechanisms of the competitive process. Easy entry and exit possibilities also have inherent synergies from the perspective of facilitating ease of doing business. When the exit processes are ex ante, known to be rapid and smooth, that creates incentives for entry and investment. In this sense, the interplay between the instruments of competition law and bankruptcy law assumes significance. These instruments, though different in their mandate, strive to achieve the same objective of obtaining economic efficiency and hence contributing to the larger economic goals. With these words, I thank IBBI for giving me this opportunity to address this august gathering. I wish the conference a grand success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for shedding light on the freedom to compete as a key element of entrepreneurial freedom. Thank you for giving us light on how the competition law is carefully balancing the freedom to compete and the freedom to contract, enabling innovation in the economy. You also mentioned some of the new challenges posed by technology and data-centric firms in the space of e-commerce, and the interaction between Competition Act and IBC and how both of them are facilitating the ease of doing business and economic efficiency. Thank you, sir.